Welcome to PhD&D on YouTube and Lessons in D&D, a new series that will reflect my DMing experiences in my homebrew or home world or setting of Air and my player experiences in Eberron. This series is going to recap the session briefly before kind of giving a lesson on what I learned during that session or what I realized or something that really helped me. So it's as much of me giving lessons as me actually telling you what I learned, and hopefully that can help you in the long run. So there'll be a short recap of the game, followed by the lesson, followed by maybe some quick tips, and we'll try to keep these short, 5 to 7 minutes in length. That way you're getting some campaign recap, and you're also getting some helpful advice, I hope. So we'll get started. This first episode of this is going to be reflecting on myself DMing a game in my home setting of Air. Now, I'm not going to recap the entire campaign up to this point. I'm just going to tell you the characters and what happened this session in particular. So we've got 4 player characters. We've got Griff, or Griffin, which is a human rogue. He's actually a thief. And you've got Angelus, which is a female paladin. You have Quero, which is a boy ranger. I say boy because he's 12 years old. And then a new player character was introduced the week prior named Domini, and he is a tiefling warlock. So they are in a terrible, terrible part of Air. The northern part is known as Melandia. It is, wasteland. People don't even know what's up there because bad things always seem to come from that direction, that type of thing. No one goes there, so of course the player characters do. And they're specifically in the Crypt of Kings, searching for something that can help them in their next location. Their goal is to get to these cathedrals where they can hopefully find some type of ancient ritual. There's said to be a necromancer there. They want to steal a raise dead ritual to bring back one of their friends. Yes, I killed a player character already, and we're only level 6, but they can deal with it. So they're in the Crypt of Kings looking for something that they were told will help them in the cathedrals to come. Now, they break into the Halfling King's tomb. While in here, they first encounter a gelatinous cube they didn't see coming. Griff, the human rogue, walks right into it. It almost takes him down. In fact, he did. It knocked him out in about 2 rounds of combat, because if you don't see it coming, they can be pretty deadly. So there was a short fight ensued, and I should mention Quero, the boy, was not involved in this session. He was standing watch at the horses. The player was gone. So, anyways, Domini, the tiefling warlock, is fighting off these skeletons that came in. Angelus, the paladin, did something pretty sweet and actually jumped into the cube, kicking, almost drop kicking Griff out the other side. Griff was half out and was being sucked back in, so the paladin, in a way sort of sacrificing herself, jumped in, tried to kick the rogue out, was successful, and then got stuck herself, but they defeated the cube and moved on. They then went to a room where they found a mystical seal on the door. Griff tried to pick the lock, and there was a magical ward. It exploded, hurt them quite a bit, a few times actually, before they were finally successful in getting there. And I have a map of all this, so I'm going to show that while we're here. Then they made their way to a room with a pool, which I will explain in just a second. So, gelatinous cube, right here. They made their way down to this room where there was a ward on the door. Inside they found a strange red rock. It looked kind of like a heart, but it was made of stone. Definitely magical. So they make their way to this room over here where there's a pool. Now, in this room they find at the bottom of that pool, still water, there's a sarcophagus. And there's a kind of a hole cut out right where the heart should be. So after a little while of gathering this information, Griff dives down, places the heart stone into the sarcophagus. The water starts to boil. Now at this point, the other characters have already gotten out of the water. Griff manages to get up and out, but suffers severe burns, which I let him kind of design later on because he didn't get out in time. I mean, this water boiled instantly. Water ends up completely evaporating. They get in, they find this ancient, very small short sword that they're not entirely sure what it is at this point. Around the blade it said, "Luck favors the bold." So they found that. Now, this session, and I'm going to jump right into it since we're already running along from explaining what these are going to be about. I did something that I haven't done recently. I took my own advice and tried to relax more during the game. And by that I mean just, sit back, enjoy it, feel in control of the game. And this brought about a few things. I was happier with the session. The players had more fun, and that can be a big problem with DMs, is they can a lot of times fall into the never being satisfied category. They're never satisfied with what they run, and I used to be that way. So you just have to sit back and enjoy it, know that you're in control, feel in control, but take your time with things. We live in a society where we want instant results. We want to see things instantly. So when a player makes a declaration that they're going to do something, don't respond immediately and say, I want to pick the lock. Okay, make a thievery check. And in your head, have no idea what number they have to hit, what target number, what DC, whatever you want to call it. Do not do that. Take your time. If you want to throw in some narrative, maybe do that. Say, okay, you have thieves' tools. What do your thieves' tools look like, by the way? And while this is going on, you can come up with whatever DC they need to make the check. And it helps to actually have these visible. I use the 4th edition screen here, and on the back they've got charts, and I printed off the updated chart you can see here for target DCs. I taped over the new one, so I've got easy, moderate, and hard DCs readily available, so it's nice to be able to see those. My advice being, though, know what they need to roll, know what they need to hit, and the consequences either way before you have them make that roll. Being a DM on the fly, I don't think is a good thing. Yes, you can come up with rules and reactions on the fly. That's fine. Obviously, you're going to have to, depending on, you never know what they're going to do. But don't also make up numbers they have to hit and consequences and things like that. Try to not do that as much. So I guess I should provide an example. So let's go with the lock picking. They want to pick a lock. So you say, okay, what do your tools look like, by the way? That's great. During that time I've thought in my head, okay, on my chart it says a 20 is hard. Well, this is an extremely hard lock to pick. So I'm going to go above that, and they need to hit a 22. So once I've got that information figured out, I can say, all right, go ahead and make a thievery roll. Now, knowing full well if they succeed, if they hit 22 or higher, it unlocks. The door's not trapped. They make their way through. But also know what's going to happen if they don't, so it doesn't unlock. That's great. Well, what if they roll extremely low? And I could say if they miss it, by 10, if he rolls a total of 12 or less, he's actually going to break his tools, or whichever tool he used there. But know the consequences of succeeding and failing. Try not to make those up on the fly. It's just going to give you more of a sense of control as a DM and more of a sense of consistency, and players pick up on that as well, that sense of consistency. So the biggest tips to take from this, like I said, 1, relax. You don't have to answer right away. You can even sit there for a few seconds in silence. I want to pick a lock. All right, make a thievery roll. That wasn't very much time there, but we don't do that. We're so trying to be quick on the response, and this is storytelling. Take your time with it. So like I said, relax, take your time with it, feel in control, and then know the DCs ahead of time. That's just a kind of an on-the-fly tip right there. But know the DCs ahead of time. It'll make you feel like everything's more consistent and make you feel better about your game. So I'm going to end that there. Thank you for watching. Take it easy, and we will see you in next week's video.